Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here, you can find the recordings of the live streams from AirWiggle's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors: A Sound Effects, Aftertouch Audio, Room Library, Fmod, Game Audio Learning, Game Sound Con, Kilohertz, Rev Rooms, Sound Cuts, Strata from Audio Kinetic, and AirWiggles, the online home for audio people. We hope you enjoy the video.
Welcome, everybody, to our panel, Overcoming the Trials and Tribulations of Working from Home. My name is Lewis, and I'm your host today, and I'm joined by the wonderful Melissa Pons, Gina Loughlin, and Greg Lester. You probably will recognize myself and Greg from all over the conference so far as we've been hosting it, and we're also joined by the lovely Gina and Melissa. Tell you what, just as a quick introduction, Melissa, are you good to give us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Melissa. I am based in Portugal, and I work as a sound designer, mostly for audio dramas now, even though I started in the film industry, mostly in Sweden. And I also work as a field recordist, usually not from home, but that is is not the majority of my work. And I also do curation for a platform of nature sounds called Earth FM, if anyone is familiar with. And I also create a podcast for that one. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Melissa's work is fantastic, folks. So I would recommend checking all that stuff out.
Yeah.
And you say, working in nature, or going outside the house isn't working from home, but really, the world is your home. Earth is your home. So I say it still counts. Gina, how about you?
So I'm a freelance composer and music designer based in the UK. I'm in Nottingham, and I've been doing it for about 7 years, and I pretty much primarily just work on small indie games. And I don't really know what to say, so that's my little intro.
That's plenty, thank you. I won't come back to you the rest of the talk. You're done. No, I'm kidding, obviously. Greg, why don't you give us an introduction as well? Well, you've probably done about 10 already this week.
It's good, I'm rehearsed. I'm Greg Lester. I work at an audio outsourcing company called Sound Cuts, together with Lewis, of course, and we're all remote, so I'm working from home as well. And yeah, I do a lot of things outside, and I think all of you know about them already, so no need to go all over those again. So yeah, that's me.
Cool. And as I said, I'm Lewis. I also work from home. I've been working from home for about 9 years straight. Well, not straight, that implies I don't sleep, but 9 years consistently. I've grown to like it, but there has definitely been some, learning to do at the start. And I was just thinking that this little panel here is going to be a lovely casual discussion about working from home, about the struggles we face, about what works for us, and hopefully just kind of like sharing some information to anybody out there who is maybe working from home themselves, but struggling with a few things, maybe someone that might be thinking about working from home, or they're applying to studios which are remote working for the first time and you're a bit unsure about what to expect. We'll try to, dispel some myths, tell you it's going to be all okay. And hopefully we'll just have a lovely, pleasant discussion full of laughs and joy and fun to be had by everyone.
I've also forgot to mention I've been doing it for around 6 years, and in Guildford, which is also where Lewis is based, so we're pretty close by.
Are you trying to get my house invaded, Greg? Stop giving out this information. Going to read out my full address next. Yes. Okay. What I'm going to do this panel, folks, just to keep the pace up, I will be going through my questions. I will probably just pick on you at random to answer them. Although if someone has a really good answer they want to say, feel free to jump in and interrupt. And then at the end, folks, I'll answer all the audience questions, or not, I won't answer them. I'll ask the audience questions. So make sure to put your questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen. It's the button with the question mark on it. And you might get featured on an AirWiggles live stream, your moment of fame. Okay, so first off, this actually is a question for all of you. Just really quickly, what led you into working from home? What kind of opportunities arose that led you into this lifestyle? And do you work from home full-time or hybrid, remotely? Melissa, I know you said a little bit about this before, but how about you?
So I started about 6 years ago and became very consistent in terms of workload, that I didn't find the need to actually go and find a place in the studio since 4 years. And initially, my goal was to kind of be like a digital nomad to start, and this was close to the pandemic starting. So then plans have also changed. But the thing that led me is that first you can have different clients, so you're not tied to a studio. So that of course opens more opportunities for work, or hopefully so. I like to work alone mostly, and
Like
I hate
Batman.
commute. Yeah, and I love not to have to commute. So it's really kind of the lifestyle that I was looking for. And yeah, I'm very lucky because the things really caught up to that as well.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And your work from home setup, Melissa, it looks like you're in a kind of converted loft. Is that right? Looks lovely.
Thanks. Yeah, it's these wooden ceilings. They really make everything more a bit more beautiful. So I rent house, so I don't have a lot of control as to where this is the third house I'm in since I started to work from home. And yeah, I'm lucky to have a space because before, and I know many people start from there, like the studio was in my bedroom, which is, if you can avoid, it's best for, I guess, we all know that it's very weird to work with your bed just behind you.
Yes. It's a good bass trap, but it's not good for your mental health, that's for sure.
No. And it feels more, yeah, when you can separate, yeah, maybe we're going to talk a bit more about those logistic aspects. But
Yes.
but yeah, I'm lucky to have a very dedicated it's very little, but it's very nice as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Miss. No, I mean, from this small webcam image, I can see it looks lovely.
It is.
I'm jealous. I just have this green wall. Gina, how about you? How did you get into working from home? And are you full-time from home, you said?
Yeah, so I'm like full-time freelance for the past like nearly 2 years now, I think it is. Maybe it's more like a year and a half, but I've been freelancing, like working from home for about 7 years. And I feel like it's probably because I didn't have a lot of choice, because like there aren't a lot of in-house like composition roles. A lot of them are kind of just like you working on your own stuff with like your own gear and stuff like that, and you should have like a home studio, or home studio is like I'm in a tiny little box room. But yeah, it was more just there weren't in-house roles. Oh, I did have an in-house composition thing once. It wasn't in games. It was like writing jingles when you're on the phone and you have horrible hold music. I wrote loads of them. I'm really sorry.
Oh my god. I hate you.
I know. I think everyone does. But that was actually hybrid. So I had a MacBook that they gave me, and I did a couple of days in office, a couple of days at home. I actually much preferred working at home because when we were in the office, it's like we were next to all the salespeople and they were on calls, and it's just like it was horrible, really. And it's like having a space in my own home where it's like it's just me at home, so I have the whole house to myself anyway. But it's just like quiet. I can actually get my stuff done. And yeah, I think it's like. Most of the time I like it, and then sometimes I'm just like, oh, it would be nice to be like more part of a team rather than be so isolated. But it's it's a thing.
Have you ever well, I mean, if you feel isolated, you can just phone a friend, but then you'll hear your own music down the line, so you're kind of trapped. Have you ever heard your own music on hold?
I actually haven't, because a lot of it was like clients in America. And there's so much country music. Like, who wants country music when they're on hold? I don't know. But there were so many briefs like that.
Take the most generic music genre and then make it even more generic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was. Wow. I mean, it was paid writing music, so it was good at the time. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Gina. Yeah, you are right though. I've seen. Probably I can count on one hand the amount of times I've even seen a position of a composing position which is in-house. And this is a weird one, actually, because in-house doesn't mean in your house. I remember that really tripped up someone I was speaking to once, and then I realized just how confusing that was. In case anyone is very new in this industry, in-house means in studio, and working from home or remote means in your own house. Yes, so for anyone that is looking to get into freelance composing, working from home is probably something you'll have to be doing, or at least working from your studio, which I imagine, unless you're a millionaire, will be in your house. Greg, how about you, my friend? Obviously, I know your situation and your story, but do you want to tell us how you came into this job and how you're working from home?
Yeah, so I actually started my career off working from home with a company that they were kind of all in different places in the UK. And then after that, I joined Soundcuts, and Soundcuts is fully remote as well. So my entire career has basically been working remotely. And yeah, similar to Gina, it's like it's cool most of the time, but sometimes it's like, oh, it would be nice to go into an office, and especially on days where I feel incredibly distracted by everything, then it almost feels like, oh, I need someone to like sit next to me who's working so I can also work. Um, and yeah, that's kind of the main story, but it's interesting, like the trajectory has been at the start, I found it incredibly exciting and thrilling, and then it was like a dip of like, oh, this kind of isn't really what I wanted it to be. And then I got used to it and learned how to deal with all the trials and tribulations and how to make a nicer environment and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll get into later. And then it kind of like went up again, and now I'm really happy working from home, and I think it will be really hard to work in-house nowadays, because I will be like, but I need to put on my wash, and when am I going to do the chores if not in my 5-minute breaks? So yeah,
I have to say, I don't really understand, because I used to work in an office, to be fair, but I still don't really comprehend how people can like do something like taking a letter to the post office or getting a haircut or doing when they're working from like 9 to 5. Like, I just doesn't. I mean, I know it's a simple solution, but like I'm just so far removed from that now. I don't understand how people live, especially with commuting time as well. Okay, everybody, I would love if you could give me, rather than answering, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you enjoy working from home? You can even go halfway if you like. Great. We all love it. Fantastic. And that could be you if you're looking at working from home. Follow our advice and you'll learn to enjoy it as well. Just for me, again, quickly, I won't spend too long on intros, but yes, just like Greg, I also work at Soundcuts. I applied for Soundcuts, and it was my first real kind of audio gig like I had out of university. I've done lots of kind of small contracts here and there. And Soundcuts was a fully remote studio, and it still is. There are no offices anyway, and so working from home wasn't necessarily something I chose, but it's something that I had to learn to do fairly quickly. And it took a little bit getting used to, as I'll go into over this talk, but I like it now. I like it a lot, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Or maybe I would if there's an office nearby, but there isn't, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so going on to the actual issues with working from home then, and some of the struggles that I'm sure we all face and lots of people in the chat face. The big one is, and Melissa, I think you touched on it when you were talking about, making sure you don't work in a bedroom. The idea of separating your work life and your personal life is quite important. It's something which I didn't really understand when I was starting out my career. Like how it can end up blurring together when you wake up, you're in your bedroom, you sit and you work all day in the same room, and then you finish and then you watch TV in the same room, and then you go to bed and then you just never leave the room. Over time, that is very damaging to my mental health anyway. I would love to know what measures you take to kind of separate your work-life balance. And I'm going to ask you, Gina, if that's okay.
Yeah. So I think the main one is, if you can, just having the dedicated space, because it's like you can shut the door, you can go to work, and kind of just like separate that out a bit. But another a thing that I try and do like pretty consistently is like have an end time. Like I finish work at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And most of the time it's the time when my partner comes home, because like they come home and I'm just like, okay, my day is ended. I can talk to a human again. And just just having a proper dedicated time, because I think otherwise you can like work into the night and stuff like that, which is like it's not like, and you'll have deadlines and maybe you'll have to do that every now and again, but like if you can negate that a bit, I think that's really helpful. And then as well, like doing the normal human things of getting up in the morning and having a shower and getting dressed, not like, I know it's nice to like be in your pajamas and stuff like that, but I think like sometimes you just are like, no, today I'm going to be a real human. I'm going to pretend that other people are going to see me. So I'm going to like make an effort with the way I just made myself like sound like an absolute scrubber, didn't I? But just like, having pretended that you go into work, I think is a good thing.
I was giving eyes to Greg that entire time, because everything you described we do not do. we work too late. We don't shower in the morning. Greg definitely doesn't.
I showered this morning. Thank you very much. I even went for a run.
But yes, that's brilliant, Gina. You mentioned with the having a separate room. I totally agree. So I've never lived in too many places. When I first started working from home, I was working in my bedroom, and I could deal with it. But I think if I kept it up, I would have lost my mind. When I moved to my last flat, I did have my own kind of like office area. Like I was in a 2-bedroom flat, and I made one of the bedrooms into an office, and that was great. That was really helpful to be able to kind of leave and kind of put it to bed. Now I live in a new place. I don't have a 2-bedroom flat because obviously buying or renting a 2-bedroom flat is obviously quite expensive. But what I have done, which might be interesting to maybe some people here, is I've actually my front desk in my studio is in my living room, which I know a lot of people do. But I definitely I break up my living room with the desk. So my desk isn't against a wall. My desk is like jutting out halfway into the room. And so, I mean, behind the screen you can see my kitchen, which is why I cover it. But I make sure that my actual living room area, where the TV is, or the sofas, the coffee table, when you sit there, there's this big acoustic panel blocking the desk. You can't see any of it. And so even though it's in the same room, I did my best to actually split my room into a work area and the relaxing area. So when I do get a bit overwhelmed at work, or I just need a bit of a rest, I just go across the room, lie down on the sofa and breathe for a moment. And it does really help me kind of just like quickly get out of work mode and relax a little bit. And so even if you don't have the ability to, have a whole separate room, I know that a lot of people will be in very small flats and they can't do this anyway. But do think creatively with your interior design. See if you can use your desk in a way that separates it from your main living room area. Cool. But yes, thank you so much, Gina. That was awesome. Greg, you touched on a second ago about being distracted. Hang on a second. About being distracted. See what I did there? God, I'm here all week. About being distracted and struggling with procrastination. I would love to know how you combat that.
Well, just don't get distracted, honestly. It's that easy.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, that's it. How to not just get distracted. It's not easy, and I think for me, a lot of it actually starts, like, it sounds super cliche, but it starts like the previous day with getting a good night's sleep. When I'm feeling like I have enough energy and focus to dedicate to things, it's way easier to use the willpower that I have, the increased willpower, to then just hone down on the tasks that are at hand. I also think it's important to kind of make space for the distractions and then to dive into them. And then once that's done, like in your breaks, it's like, all right, I'm going to put the phone away. I'm going to put the Slack on Do Not Disturb for an hour and then just dive in. Obviously, there's loads of methods like Pomodoro and stuff like that. I don't really do that per se, but I do try and kind of just be like, all right, the next hour or the next 30 minutes, I'm just going to do that. And that's really helpful. Breaks, really important. For me, always like walks, going outside is the biggest thing because I live in, like I work, live, sleep, eat, all of that stuff in one room. And then I leave for the kitchen, which is in another room. But that can be really intense, and especially also when I'm a PC gamer, and so it's like this, I'm staring at the same screen when I'm playing games versus when I'm also working, so that's even trickier. And I have to say, it's sometimes my work-life balance is just not very good, and other times it's a lot better. And I think that's okay. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's about like catching yourself when things go too far and then being like, all right, I need to rebalance. How do I kind of change my mornings, my evenings, stuff like that, especially, I think. And I love what Gina said as well with the work hours, being a bit more strict with yourself to be like, all right, I'm going to cut off there. This is my job. This is not my entire life. And I've worked on too many canceled games to dedicate tons of my free time then to those things. So, yeah.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree with you, everything you're saying, because I know you so well. I knew you were going to say that. You were saying about our work-life balance. I mean, people on this website will probably guess that mine and Greg's work-life balance isn't great, because when we finish with our job, we spend most of our time working on this platform and organizing this conference, which is a lot of work. However, I mean, I agree with you, Gina, that you should set times, and I think we're not an example to follow. But I think it is important that me and Greg I think we both know when we're feeling like we need to have a rest, and we know when we're like just past the point of like being functional. Like earlier today, I had to take a walk just to kind of get out of the house, have a breather, etc. I know we've been alternating this week, Greg, like going for walks just because we know we can't work and we need to have a rest. So we don't. I mean, we work too much, but we don't work ourselves into the absolute ground. Like we know when we need to have a break, and I think that's very important. And it took me a while to learn as well. So you might not be able to feel it straight away, but I think you eventually learn I need a break. Melissa, I'm going to come to you next. I was wondering if you ever suffer or struggle with kind of isolation or loneliness when working from home, and how you go about dealing with that.
I don't. I mean, as I said,
Wow,
I really
amazing.
like
Just
to.
don't, yeah.
Yeah, because I really like to work on, and it's about the distraction thing. There's situations where it's nice sometimes in the things that I do to work with someone, but I that distracts me a lot. So I actually prefer to. Yeah, I don't think it's very applicable to me actually.
Fair enough. No, it's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is interesting because I think working from home. I mean, I do struggle with the isolation sometimes, especially at the start of my career. But I know a lot of people actually really thrive on it and just having,
Yeah.
you know, a bit of me time to yourself. And I'm really pleased for you if that's how it works for you, because that seems like a great fit. Gina, Greg, do either of you struggle with kind of isolation?
Yeah, I think so. It's not like constant or anything. I think there'll just be some days where I realize I haven't really spoken to anyone all week other than like my partner when they come home. Because like I've not had to have any meetings, I've not had to have any calls or anything like that. So I've just kind of been completely on my own. I feel like as well, because I live in a city that I've moved to and I don't like know loads of people very close to me as well. That's also like another thing. I think I kind of combat it probably one by like my partner comes in the door and I basically like will talk at them for like an hour and I'm sorry, but you're the only person who I've seen and I just have lots of things. So like they're very patient with me when I kind of like unload stuff on them or whatever. But also like I don't know, I think I'm quite online and I think there's like again social media is good in some ways, bad in other ways. But it's not like I feel like I don't have people who I can talk to. It's like I talk to my friends like on Messenger and then like I'll be active on social media. So it's like that fills it in a little bit. And then other than that, it's just like in my weekends, I'll like make an effort to like go see my friends and do stuff like that outside of like working time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. I have to say, like with my kind of like the isolation side, I think I'm quite an extroverted person, I think, which is, I wouldn't believe if me saying that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but I think I do need socialization. And I think, especially at the start of my career, when I was working from home for the first time, when I was working in my parents' house, in my old bedroom, in the same bedroom as I was sleeping, etc. If I wasn't doing something social because I didn't have a partner either at the time, so I was just like, I saw my parents occasionally, but I was very much just on my own throughout all of work and then all of the evenings. If I didn't go out and socialize every single evening, I was losing my mind. Like I was going a bit crazy. When I had like 2-3 days in a row where I didn't see anyone, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt so terrible. And so I had to make a really big effort to kind of leave a house and do something, whether it was going to the gym or going climbing or playing board games with my friends, or even if it's just, playing some games online with some of my friends. Like I needed to do it. Now I think I've adjusted a little bit to it. I've been working from home for a few years now, and now like I can actually appreciate a quiet day to myself occasionally, because there's obviously so much work to do and everything's so busy. But I think, yeah, as you said, using social media as well, like it's part of the reason me and Greg are on Evergles so much, because it is a socialization we can do to kind of keep us going when we're working from home. You can still speak to people, whether it's video calls or just by a text. Obviously, I do think something like Twitter, I remember like definitely did more damage than good to us, especially towards the end of it, when a certain someone bought it, because it was just, you look at it and scroll for ages and you just be miserable and more miserable every second you scrolled on it. But it's nice having a more wholesome community. And I don't mean to somehow turn this into an ad for the platform, but there you go. I can't be stopped.
Hijacked.
Okay, so Melissa, I think you said earlier, I forget if it was on stream or before, but the space you're in, like your physical space, you said it was fairly small. Did you say? Is that right?
Yeah.
How do you make the most out of making the most out of a small space? Do you have any tips for that?
Well, I had to limit some things, so I really cannot record for sound design. Sometimes I had to record some things here and there. If it wasn't, something that I could find on libraries exactly how I wanted, but everything that involves a little bit of performance, I had to say that I cannot do that anymore, and because I also don't really do any kind of final mix, because even though I work on headphones, I think I don't have really like an appropriated space. As you can more or less see, this is like open to the rest of the house in the back. So I do mostly work on headphones, but I had to limit where I could deliver a really good job. So I think that was key to it, but I don't think it really stopped me from it didn't really stop me so far from getting any gig or something. And one thing that I really try very hard is to make this a bit like you were saying before. I think all of you mentioned is that here not personal things don't come here, like personal objects or stuff like that, and everything that belongs to work is here. To kind of do that separation. I have some panels over there, and I try to make it aesthetic pleasing. It's not ready yet as I wanted, but I think it's nice to to feel good, and it has a lot of light. I have a ceiling, a window in the ceiling in that. But I think it's not like actually enjoying the place where you are at. If you can build it like that, of course, these things involve money and time. So doing that, having really separated. And I think those are my main things that I do.
Thank you. No, that makes total sense. I agree with like the aesthetically pleasing stuff. Like it's my last studio I was in, as in my last home studio. It was just a rented flat. I couldn't really do much with it. I didn't really have any color in there. It was just like white desk, black panels, gray floor, magnolia rented painted walls. And I made it mine, but it was a bit. Sorry, Gina.
No, I exactly the same. I can't paint it, so that's why it's the way it is.
God, imagine working in a room like that. God, it would be horrible, wouldn't it? God. Greg, I can see. I mean, I'm looking at your background, my friend.
This is all hand painted, by the way. I'm actually an artist.
Yeah, that's a lie, everyone.
The method, so I agree, right? My walls are also gray, and I was very sad, so I was like, right, how can I fix this? And the key was actually tapestries. So these are all like tapestries that are, I think that's the right word, essentially printed on fabric. That's it. And I like pin them up, and the top of the skirting board or whatever the thing is called is like I can put the needles in, and so I can hang up tapestries without damaging my walls, and that has been a game changer because now I have like tapestries all over the place, and that makes it feel so much nicer. Because I have to say, like, just being in a space, I mean, as you can see, there's mountains and stuff in the background. It's just makes you psychologically feel like you're more in nature, even though you're not obviously in nature. And it's just a lot better for the mental health, especially for me. Also, I'm a terrible plant father. I have a number of plants, and I unfortunately have, killed a lot of them unintentionally.
Plastic plants are the way, my friend. That's
and
what I
so
do.
some of these are indeed fake. I'm sorry. I know that's blasphemy. But I
So
have
what?
a bunch of real ones right in front of me, and they are in good health. And so...
He doesn't, by the way. I've been to his studio. It's all plastic. He's lying. He's lying for the cameras.
It's fake news, Lewis. That's not true. I can show you. No, they are indeed real plants. And I've also got like some acoustic treatment and stuff. And yeah, just like things that like inspire me around the place. And I try to kind of have things in reaching space, so whatever's important to me, like my PlayStation and Xbox controllers. And that really helps. Also just like staying in the flow when I'm doing stuff, and combats like getting too distracted by like, oh, I need to go to this shelf across the room and pull this out, and oh look, there's like 3 other things that I haven't touched in ages, and oh, there's another thing, oh, what was I gonna do? So yeah, like having it set up to be functional in the sense of everything I need is close, but also aesthetically pleasing, is really nice. And up here's all my like recording stuff and camera equipment and mics, so yeah, that's super helpful.
Cool. Something I like doing as well, as a tip for anybody, I can't do it in my current flat just because of the way it's laid out. But if you have a spare room or if you have a desk able to do this, I quite like your desk facing a window, as in you are constantly looking out the window. Obviously your computer is going to be blocking some of it, but in my last place I was kind of I would spend so long just kind of gazing out the window, looking at squirrels running along and stuff like that into my neighbors' gardens, not spying on them, to clarify. I was a nice neighbor, but it was nice, you know, and also it means you have great lighting for your webcam, which is also a plus. I know, Greg, I know your place, yeah, that's not possible in the slightest, but like that's a nice tip for someone if you want an actual mountain to look at rather than a fake one.
Well, if only I could bring a mountain outside, that would also be nice. I think in this country it's also not that possible.
Fair enough. You're talking about acoustic panels, but you've been speaking for ages. So Gina, do you have any acoustic panels in your room?
No, my room is completely untreated. It's really not ideal especially because it's so small. So it's got quite it's not great to record in. I do have actually a tiny, like this bit that's poking out is like a cupboard, and I've done some makeshift stuff where I've like put my mic in there and put blankets all around it to do like a DIY kind of like little booth. If
it works, it works.
It was not great because I kept having to go back and forward to the computer and stuff. It was not ideal, but I'm going to be moving soon, so like my next place, the plan is to like actually treat the space, because basically I've got monitors on my desk that I just don't use because they're like the bass part is on the back and they're right in the edge, and it's horrible to listen to. So I do pretty much everything on my headphones, and I am everything that you are not supposed to be.
Well, I'm going to give you a tip, Gina, for when you do move. So when it comes to acoustic panels, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you're in a rented flat. Obviously, you can't really paint the walls or anything. What I did, which I'm actually quite proud of, I mean, first off, I made my acoustic panels, which is a lot of effort, but like you can do it a lot cheaper than buying loads of them from Gig Acoustics. Although I would recommend using Gig Acoustics because they're very good. I know Greg uses them, don't you, Greg?
Gig? Did you say? Yes,
yeah, that's
that is correct. Yeah. And also I have the standing, I think they're the gobos or whatever. So none of these are attached. They're like on little like pods, whatever, metal stands, and that is super useful because.
Sorry, I'm trying to show off my panels behind my green screen. So yes, I made mine, and mine are mounted to the wall. But just like you, Gina, I can't nail anything to the walls because it's rented flat. But these panels, right, and I can even support bigger ones. They're 1.2 by 60 centimeters, so like more a meter squared. I don't know maths, but they're big, they're heavy, they're 10 centimeters thick, and they're just held up by command hooks.
Oh, nice.
You know those little command hooks that you hang photos on. You can get like big, like fuck off massive ones like this, which are like this wide. They cost about $5 each, so it's quite expensive. But each one of these have got 2 command hooks on the top and 2 on the bottom. And they hold it up. They've never come down.
They're great until you take them off and you rip the paint off your wall.
Yeah,
but how much money is a bit of paint and going to the paint mixers at B&Q? You know, it's not too bad. But yes, and also as you can see, I've covered them in like a nicer fabric. As well, so it gives me a bit of color. Let me slide back. I'd recommend doing that if people want to look into making their own acoustic panels. I'll have to dig it up. I would say Greg can find it for me, but he's also on the live stream. But we have a few old posts on Airwiggles from the archives where people, including myself and Lewis Ball and Katharina Barr, went into great detail about how they made them. And you can look at that as a guide. I'll try and remind myself to do that later. Okay, can I talk about physical health and kind of like the ergonomic side and whether... Okay, Greg, I know you've got a standing desk, but I want to stop talking to you. Does anyone else have a standing desk? Oh, Gina, do you want to talk about what that's like, if it's worth it?
I splashed out and I got a desk basically as wide as my room, so I have no idea how I'm going to move it. And it was because I kept getting like backache and... I don't know, just I get pain in my legs as well. I think it's because of like my chair height and stuff like that. And I think as well sometimes I'm stressed and I can feel myself like pressing down on the floor as I'm sat down. So having like a standing desk was supposed to alleviate this. But honestly, I don't use it that much, and it's my own fault because I'm pretty tall, so when I need it raised up quite high, and then it will unplug some of my cables, so I need to swap out my cables, and I've just not got round to that. But the few times I have used it, I've used it when I'm mixing stuff. Like if I'm writing, because I've got my keyboard on here, or I'll play guitar or whatever. I don't like to do it standing up, so I'll sit down. But if I'm like doing a mixing session or doing some admin kind of stuff, I'll try and stand up. And yeah, I do think it has helped, even though I don't use it as much as I would like to. But again, I've not got round to swapping out a couple of my cables, so I don't use it as much as I should.
Sure. Yeah, the idea of, I mean, everyone tells me to get a standing desk, but the idea of having, like, if I move my desk back an inch, something's going to come unplugged. So the idea of setting up in a way that it can like raise a meter and back is terrifying to me. But as a quick fix, what I like doing sometimes is just getting rid of my chair and kneeling up at my desk. And that doesn't do the same thing. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to say yes, it does. So you can save yourself some money on that. I'm kidding, obviously.
I'm glad you're not a doctor, though.
I was going to also ask about like chairs and basically anything else that kind of like helps ergonomically or physically. Melissa, do you have anything? I've not feel like I've not spoken to you for a while. Do you have anything to add about the kind of physical health or the ergonomics?
Very related to the studio space or the thing that
I
we
guess
also do that
either.
is called exercise, no?
You know what? I mean, I wasn't planning on talking about exercise because I don't do it enough, but go on. You make me feel bad. Just talk about exercise.
No. I don't. I think I should definitely change my chair, but I cannot be in the same position for 5 minutes. I'm constantly. I'm struggling to keep a bit still now. And yeah, standing desks was never something that really attracted me, and especially because of this cable and everything situation. That yeah. Yeah, if we talk about physical health, of course, I notice myself a lot of times just hunching.
Like a prawn.
Yeah, a bit. So sometimes I just turn my chair, and then I work from that like that. But I mean, if you want to go beyond just being like that in the studio, yeah, I mean, exercise and you really, strengthen the muscles on your back. That's very helpful, actually. But I think we all know that. No, I hope so. The problem is doing it consistently.
Yeah,
but
I definitely know that.
Yeah.
I can't say I do it. No, I totally agree. I think it is quite nice as well. Oh, Greg, sorry, what was that? Was that your exercise ball?
Yeah, that is actually really useful. I have a exercise ball that like I switch onto, and it helps me like kind of sit up straight and kind of be a little bit active. And it's especially nice in like audio only meetings where we have to listen to something for a long time or videos, because I need to do things all the time and like have a difficult time to sit still. So that has been really useful to me personally.
I think a lot of the AirWigs community are pretty good when it comes to this kind of stuff, like taking care of yourself and doing exercise. But I would say, like, if you're beginning to work from home, doing something in the evening, like, I don't know, joining a climbing club or going swimming or something, it's three birds with one stone, right? Because you both get out of the house and see people, you do exercise, and you stay fit. Wait, the last two were the same. There was something else. There was 3 points there, and I've got confused. But either way, it's like doing something like that not every evening, but like in your evenings, is a really nice addition to your working from home day. And just getting some fresh air, leaving the house, having an excuse to do it, I think is really important. And speaking of, sorry, yeah, no, after you, Melissa, of course.
No, it's within the subject. Do you guys do anything for your eye health? Because it's so many hours on the screen, and we are on the screen also outside work. So I actually wonder if you guys have some, I don't know. Take care.
I actually don't, and I probably should, because my eyes are terrible because I'm short-sighted, I'm colorblind, and I have double vision. So like I've got the worst eyes ever. I wonder why, because I stare at screens all day every day. I don't know how, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how useful it is having blue light reduction in your glasses, but I normally wear glasses at work with that in. I think that maybe helps. And I know I've not actually set up on my current computer, but I used to use a bit of software called Flux that basically kind of like dims the blue light out of your monitors the later at night it gets. So your screen kind of becomes a bit more yellow tintish towards the end of the day, which is a lot easier on the eyes. Again, I don't know medically if that's doing much, but it feels a bit more comfortable. I can't really use it anymore because I do a lot of work that uses color. But that was quite nice. How about the other two? Gina, Greg, do you do anything for your eye health?
I think I'm pretty good at taking frequent breaks. I think part of it is I I like to give my ears a break, and if I get frustrated with something as well, it's just kind of like, I don't know, I probably take a break every hour or two and just like have 5-10 minutes away from the screen, go sit down, make myself like a coffee or whatever. I think that helps. Also, I don't really work at night anymore, or again, I try not to, and I think that's helped a lot because I used to, especially when I was starting out and doing it like after a day job and stuff like that, doing it in my evenings. It's like be sat in a dark room, I'd have no lights on, just be staring at a screen. So like if I do work at night, it's like I turn the light on. I know it sounds like very basic, but yeah, just I guess just having breaks and being conscious of it. But I also I stopped wearing contacts when I work at a screen. I used to wear them pretty consistently for about 10 years, and then when working on a screen, I don't know, my vision was not as good, so I just swapped to glasses, and that seems to have helped.
I'm totally the same. Like I'm wearing contacts now because I wanted to wear them for this stream, but I only ever use glasses working because I just find after a while, like, I don't know about you, Gina, but like my eyes are getting blurry. It feels a bit dry and scratchy. It's very uncomfortable. So I totally agree. I would like to, I think, you know, I said a few times that I'm not a doctor, but actually I think I am a doctor when I recommend this fantastic comment from Robert. Stare at the sun after work, great way. You know, if you stare at the sun, the screen's going to do nothing to you. So, you know, big brain.
Disclaimer, we are not medical practitioners. Please do not follow. Yeah, I think what Gina said, honestly, with the lights is a good one. I try to kind of go and look out my window a lot, but I don't do anything super specific or conscious. But yeah, like looking out the window is really helpful, and I always notice and like, oh, this is really nice. And I have like, because I do a lot of filming and stuff, I bought myself quite a nice light, which has like an app as well, and I can turn it really to like a warm color in the evening, and during the day it's kind of more very high lux, so it simulates more daylight, and that immediately gets me more awake during the day, and kind of reduces just the intensity of the screen glare because my environment is a lot brighter, and then in the evening I have it on a nice low light, and I have the night mode as well, what you said, Lewis. It's not flux, but it's like built in, so it reduces the blue light. And then I have LEDs as well on my desk and stuff that just add a bit more ambient light, and I found that to be really helpful. I think like avoiding having just one, the screen be the only light source, that can be super duper straining. And like even on my TV, there's like backlight LEDs which then light up the room a little bit more, and those help. So yeah.
It's also nice being in a room that has dimmers. I know that's not really something many people can control, but like, I mean, yes, I agree. Working at night, not that you should do it anyway, but when it's just your screen, it's like, Jesus, it's so blue and it's really painful to look at. But when you've got like some nice dim lamps or the ceiling lights are dim, it's like, oh, you know what, this is quite cozy. Maybe it doesn't even help that much medically, but I feel like it just makes it feel a little bit nicer for me anyway. I'm going to feature another comment here. This one actually is hopefully genuine, which is from my good friend Lewis Bull. His partner is an optometrist. I know his partner. She's lovely. Hi, Helen, in case you're watching this. Every 20 minutes, stare at something 20 meters away for at least 20 seconds. Maybe as a quick tip for quick fix eye health.
That's cool. I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense.
That leads in well with Robert's point, because the sun is definitely 20 meters away. So there you go, folks. You heard it here first.
There is an app called Leo that is free, and it does that every 20 minutes or so. It pops up something and says close your eyes for 5 seconds or for 10 seconds, and now look at something far away if you can. If you don't get too distracted by that, it's a good add-on to your workflow. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Fantastic. What is it called?
What was that app called? Sorry.
Leo.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I would love to move on to some of the tech setup, if that's okay, and all our gear we're using, how we work from home remotely. So I guess I'm not sure who this applies to, but I'd love to know what kind of software and hardware we're all using to work collaboratively with other, whether it's team members or clients. Melissa, does this apply for you? Because I know your work's quite different to the three of us. How do you work collaboratively with others, or is it mostly solo?
Slack for communication, and some messaging app that I only have work with. But
Sure.
yeah, other than that, it doesn't apply. Yeah.
Sure. And Gina, I know like me and Greg have to use all kinds of messaging softwares in Perforce and source control. Do you have to use any of these things? Do you have any of you like?
So it's mostly Discord or Slack that I'm using for like chatting to people. And then it's all it's not so varied at the minute because I'm kind of like working with my own clients, but I used to work with an audio outsourcing company, and with that it was like lots of different clients who all had their own things. So it was basically I imagine you know the struggle of like every dev has their own workflow and you just kind of have to adapt to that. And I guess it's like I think Discord is easy enough to use. I think it can be a little distracting sometimes if you have like your personal one mixed with the work one. But I don't know. I don't really use anything to like collaborate on my actual work other than like occasionally it was like uploading some like repossessions to what were we using? I think we were just doing it through GitHub to see if that would work. And yeah, most of the time my work itself is like I'm the solo composer a lot of the time, so it's just like sending the tracks through like Google Drive to whoever is reviewing them.
Okay, cool. Likewise, me and Greg, because we work at an outsourcing company too. We have so many different clients. They all use their own messaging softwares, their own source control clients, their own game engines. So we just have to be set up with literally everything. Can be overwhelming sometimes. One thing, not that you can really decide this, but we used to use Skype for all our messaging internally at Soundcuts, which wasn't really that good. But what was quite nice is that when you got a Skype message, I knew it was from Soundcuts. It's not like I get a Discord ping and I'm like trying to work out who it's from or which community it's in. So maybe, but that's not really something anyone can control, I suppose, what the company uses, but that was a neat little feature of it anyway. Greg, any other softwares you like using? Maybe one that rhymes with Moogle Meets?
Don't know. Got nothing for you, mate.
Do you want to think about it some more? Maybe the power of a collaborative spreadsheet.
Google Meets and stuff like that. I think we use most things, right? It's depending on the client, so it's a large variety of stuff.
Yeah, that's actually not what I meant, but I didn't actually realize that until you said it. I meant Google Sheets, which is kind of like collaborative spreadsheets and docs and stuff.
Yeah,
that's on me, to be fair. I made that confusing. I did not see that before you said that.
On a like management side, one of the things that really helps as well, kind of with working from home, is just having clarity over what I'm doing, and that is a lot of the time just getting my calendar blockouts of like, all right, from here to here I'm doing some admin, and then I'll focus on that, and then I have kind of more of a stricter lunch break during lunch, and then kind of certain work blocks for stuff. And really writing down beforehand, oftentimes the evening before, the day before, what I need to do the next day or even the whole next week, helps me a lot to basically just work more distraction-free, be more productive, and kind of it's just an execution flow then, because it's not like, oh my god, what do I need to do next? And I need to do that, and I need to do this. But it's like, all right, I've got my list, and I just need to follow the instructions that I put on my list. And Shugel eats Damien. That's the one. I think that's mostly from a software-wise. I also use Notion Calendar. I find that super useful because it like combines all my calendars into one and has like scheduling software integrated and everything. So yeah, I like Notion Calendar.
Just bouncing off. Oh, sorry.
No. After you, Gina. I've been speaking way too much.
Just bouncing off your like organizing thing is like that's a big thing that I try and do to like manage my just like workload in general. So I have like a Notion kind of page, and it's called Weekly Things, and then I have like the things I'm doing that day, the next day, the week, and then I've got my monthly goals and my month goals for the next month as well. And then it's like I can just drag everything over, and like it just helps me keep on top of like multiple projects. And then I have like a little timetable at the bottom being like, okay, this month, I don't know, in the morning it's an admin on a Monday, and then I work on this project on this day, this project on another day. And it's just like if you're working on multiple things, I think it's important to kind of like try and make it work like by separating days or like morning afternoon sessions or something like that. And yeah, I just think Notion is really great for that. If you can get it's like takes a little bit of time to set up, can be a bit fiddly, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I have actually a question for you all. One thing that I find myself struggling with a bunch is I will write out my to-do list or something, and then I'm like, cool, this is a manageable workload, this is great, I know when I'm doing what, and then as the week progresses, inevitably a bunch of new stuff gets added, and then I always then have this feeling of like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not getting through it, and I'm kind of like treading through. Have you ever experienced that? And if so, how have you kind of combated that?
I can go unless anyone else wants to.
Yeah, go.
Yes, I mean, definitely, as you know, Greg, like, how do I combat it? I don't know. I struggle with it too. I was going to say, sorry, I'm going to bring this back around to you, Greg, I promise. I'm not just going to ignore you. With your point, Gina, with like using Notion, I actually don't like Notion, but I definitely agree about like having some kind of like software or just anything that helps you track kind of your own personal tasks or whatever is super useful. And, you know, those people like Notion, so brilliant. Some people use Trello. Lewis Bull in the chat's going to laugh at me for showing this off, but me and Greg are really into our Remarkables, which is this is just a sales pitch at this point. It's basically because I like writing things on paper. Like when I'm making notes or taking notes in meetings, I really like scribbling on paper with a pen and paper. It makes me remember it easier and just find it more satisfying. But I just have I was building up loads of notebooks of all kinds of random paper everywhere. It was really messy. But this one, you can just draw on it like there you go, like a pen and paper, and then scroll and save things to your computer and stuff. And it's quite an expensive investment. But that's
There's
one
an
of those
affiliate
things...
link in the description, everyone, if you want.
Discount code?
Yeah. Use Evergles123 out there. So, like, obviously, that's quite an expensive luxury purchase, but it's one of those things which I thought would be a bit of a silly purchase that I would never use, but actually, like for you, Gene, I think that's been my notion, like using my notes and stuff on that, and I also do some drawings on it as well as a kind of mental health thing. Sorry, Greg, getting back to your question. When I do have too much to do, I mean, I think I feel a bit better about it now. It definitely used to I used to get really anxious about the stuff I wasn't doing and this endless list of stuff that's coming across. And I'm sure all of us have done the thing where we have a to-do list that we're in progress with, and we do something else which isn't on the to-do list. So we add it to the list and immediately tick it off to get that free hit of dopamine. That's my favorite pastime. I think you just have to, I mean, I don't have a solution, Greg, but for me, when I have a big list, I just have to accept this stuff. It would be nice to get done today, but I'm very much expecting to only get 2 or 3 things done. And if I can highlight, some of the more important and more urgent ones and do those, the rest of the list can just be pushed back because it always has to be pushed back. So I think, just try not to beat yourself up about it or not to get anxious about it. Just don't worry about it, Greg. It's that simple, my friend.
Sweet, thanks.
You're welcome, everyone. More health tips from Dr. Lewis. Okay, right. We have about 5 minutes before I go on to audience questions. Do you folks have to be anywhere anytime soon? Can we overrun by 20 minutes or so? Fantastic. Yeah. I'll skip to some of my more miscellaneous fun questions, if that's all right, and then we'll do some audience questions. I would love to know what you all do for lunch and what your kind of just general morning, evening routines are. Melissa, I feel like I've not spoken to you for a while. Do you want to go?
Yeah, that's a good question, and of course it ties up to what Gina was saying also before. I think I guess many of us spend a lot of time sometimes on YouTube seeing how these people working from home can be productive. I think a lot of these things are a trap because people are quite different, and I really stopped doing that and realizing how I work actually. And what is best for me, and I've been trying that for 2 months now, I mean, more exclusively on a row, is that I know that I work pretty well in the morning, early, and I know that the sooner I get work done, I feel very satisfied if it's 3 p.m. or sometimes even earlier. I really try not to work 8 hours a day. It's something that I can. But I really enjoy doing other things, and I feel very balanced if I'm not working all day. Sometimes it happens. The other day I worked until 1 a.m. because I decided to go out very randomly, and then of course I had to I had to deliver something, but it's really not about how other people are doing it, but actually how you feel that is best. And so what I do, I usually wake up around 6:30 to 7. Because I like it, and also the birds are very active right now, so they wouldn't really let me. I use loop earplugs, but it's a racket out there. It's not the worst way to start your day, I guess. And then I just chill for a bit. I have a coffee, maybe outside if it's good weather. Maybe read a little bit, and then I really have the goal to start working until 8 a.m. Until 8 a.m. I need to start clocking. This is something that works for me. Gina was saying that. Like your limit was like you have a limit on the end of time, and I think that's also really healthy. For me, it's really about like starting at 8. It could be another time. Sometimes I've started earlier. And yeah, I have coffee. Then I try to have a really good breakfast with a lot of like fruits and seeds and protein powder and all that stuff. And about lunch, actually, one thing that is really good, and it also helps me to organize the day and not to feel anxious about all the stuff that you have to do. If you can prepare your lunch the day before, like just make double dinner, and then you kind of just have to heat it up, maybe add a few things, because you're taking something away from your brain, and I feel that's really good to go to an empty brain. So other things, like I don't check news in the morning, I don't go on my WhatsApp in the morning, or whatever messaging system that's Meta, right? So maybe not WhatsApp, but and just try to not actually have anything that is just going to fill your mind, and leave that afterwards. Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, when it's 3, I can go outside, and I'm really happy about that. So that answered the question, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, compared to you two, Gina and Melissa, like I think I'm just like a goblin, because I do not get up early. I'm very much not a morning person. I think I'm not proud of it, and I'm not saying anyone should do this, but like I am more of I'll work a bit later and a bit longer, because I'm not good at starting early. I kind of wish I was. That sounds a lot more pleasant than what you're both describing. But that is what's nice about working from home, is that, I mean, it depends on which companies and what you're working on, but it is quite flexible, that you can make it work for you like that. It's awesome that if you like getting up early at Melissa and enjoying the rest of your day in the afternoon, that actually sounds really delightful, actually, doesn't it? Having so much time to kind of relax in the evening once you've done, and you can put your work to bed, and you've got everything done early. I'm jealous. Maybe I need to change my ways.
Yeah, some people just are more set to working until late, or to not wake up that early. It's not the case for me, so that's why I think it's important maybe not to listen to what everyone is saying on YouTube or blogs or something like that, and just kind of figure out how you're doing, and make sure, like Greg was saying, I think to sleep really well. But when I was working, say sometimes start at 10 or 10:30 or something like that, I would be really stressed when it was like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and I felt that I was not doing, and that I haven't done much.
Sure.
And it's the thing, it's really about the mental load sometimes. So that really worked for me. But I have friends that they have like a longer morning routine where they do, I don't know, some meditation, and then they read a book for half an hour, and they, I don't know, go out their cat or something, and then they start, but then it's 8 p.m. and they're still there, and I'm like, ha. No, I do that. I make fun of them. I cause them envy. But it's not so much about what everyone is saying. I guess it's really just figuring out how you feel good with, I guess.
Yeah. I guess that's the positive of, as opposed, me and Greg obviously work with our company full time, but if you're working in a more flexible position, or you're a freelancer or something, you can set those kind of hours for yourself, and do something that really works for you. And honestly, that does sound lovely. It sounds nice, especially where you live in this like really serene village with all these birds chirping. That sounds lovely. Right, my last question before I go into audience questions, if that's all right, is there anything that you think I've missed? Any advantages or disadvantages, or tips and tricks about working from home for people who maybe are looking to get started or a bit nervous about it that we haven't talked about? I won't pick anyone because I know this is a hard one, but anyone want to raise a hand for this one? Gina?
I just want to bounce off what Melissa was saying about this, if you start late and then you feel like you've not done enough and stuff like that. There's something, it's kind of like, I think it's something that I've kind of like been struggling with basically this whole time, is that I'm not actually a morning person. and I like am forcing myself to get up early and stuff like that to try and be that. But then I like the cutoff, but then sometimes I'll start really late and then I'll only have like a few hours or whatever. And then I do feel like you can be really hard on yourself about it. And I think a thing that's really helped with me is like I track all my time now, or I've been doing it for like a few years, maybe like 3 or 4 years, basically tracking every time I'm like in a door, if I'm answering Discord messages, if I'm doing admin, like track it all, and then like it will add up. It's like you'll think things aren't work, like, oh, I'm just like chatting with someone or whatever, but you're chatting about your project, or I don't know, just things that you might not think. And then it also helps you, like you can then, if someone is going to ask you, oh, how long will it take you to do this? It's like, you've got a big reference. It's like, you've got like 3 or 4 years of tracking your work. You can go and be like, oh, it actually on average takes me about, I don't know, 6 hours to write a minute or whatever, like it will be. But I also think just being a bit nicer to yourself as well, like realizing that if someone is in an office, they're probably not working consistently for 8 hours. They will also be distracted by people around them, like going, having chats with people, or just like not like doing their work because they're just distracted by anything around them. So I think setting yourself a target of working 8 hours a day is probably not, I don't know, just not very good for you. So I think like lowering the expectations and being like, I don't know, start off small. Like if you're struggling to get into a routine, be like, okay, I'm going to start with a couple hours and then build it up. And I think as well, knowing when you're kind of done, when you're checked out, and just like calling it a day. Like if you don't have any pressing deadlines, just being like, oh, I've only done like 4 hours today, but I'm just not feeling it and everything's going wrong. It's just like, it's okay to just, if you're freelancing, you can do that. Like, yeah, just kind of enjoy that you can do that, and you have that freedom to just like walk away if you need a bit of time. And also one more thing, sorry, I'm rambling.
It's okay, no, please.
But like on my task list thing is kind of like, I'll have things for the day, and it's like, if I get all those things done by 2 o'clock and I'm like, oh, well, I could move something over and work on the next thing, or I could just end my day early because I've done what I need to do for the day. It's like, you can also just do that. It's like, I think just moving away from this pressure of I need to be working between the hours of 9 and 5 every single day, 5 days a week. It's like, you don't. If you have this flexibility, then I don't know, enjoy it.
That's awesome, Gina. Thank you.
Love that. And to just add something as well on the tips and tricks side. So one of the things I saw in the chat that Samantha said is not all hours are created equal. It's much easier for, me to get into a flow state between 1 p.m. than it is at 4 p.m. And I totally agree with that as well, to riff on everyone that has said mornings are super good. Sometimes evenings are good. When there's no one kind of there to distract me, it's often the best. And for me, what's been super helpful as well is like body doubling. So when you're not working from home, something that's useful is to hop on a call. So I hop on calls a bunch with Lewis or other people from the Soundcuts team, and just kind of spend time even muted, just doing work, but just having someone there, and then
don't even talk to each other. Yeah.
To then just banter a little bit or something, or be like, oh, listen to what I just made. What do you think of this? And then kind of mute again and continue. And that has been super duper helpful. So I know some people who have created like a Discord group for this as well. And they literally were just like helping each other be accountable. And that kind of thing can be so helpful. And that's when you're not in an office and you don't have someone actively working next to you, kind of bringing someone into your space digitally can be a great help. Oh, damn. There's someone at the door. BRB.
Not to encourage this too hard, but like what Greg was saying with the kind of just calling someone and just working together. I don't necessarily I don't think you should be in a situation, but if you are in a situation where you're working like really hard on a really immediate deadline, or you're working late for necessity, like that's when I think that's really useful to be able to call someone and go through it together, because otherwise you just feel like you're sat in your room wasting your life. Okay, folks, I'm going to let you in on a secret here. So we have an AirWiggle Slack channel, and I've been seeing the messages pop on my screen. There's no one at Greg's door. He's going to the toilet because he's been bursting for a wee for a while. So when he comes back in the chat, just say, who was at the door, Greg, at this time at night? 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night, Greg. That's a bit strange. We'll rumble him. Okay, I'm going to go on to some audience questions. I don't think we'll have time to get to all of them, but I'll go from the most popular down. So I'm going to start with, I don't know if this applies to any of us, we might not be able to help, but Christopher asks, does anyone have any good techniques, tips, or strategies for people with ADHD that are working from home, mostly on their own? I don't know if this applies to either of you. Do any of you... Oh, Melissa, do you have anything you want to say about this?
I think it's precisely what I said before. So, when I was watching all these very perfect, beautiful morning routines, it's like it didn't apply, like tasks didn't apply. You were talking about Notion. I also tried that for a while. But when I looked at it, I'm like, this is so many things. Like, I don't have patience for this. I don't want to learn this. And one thing that a therapist said about this to me was, if you tried it and it didn't work, don't try anymore. Move to something else. And maybe you have to have it simple. I only have a notebook where I have tasks written down. I also actually like to write with a pen and paper, and also reduces a little bit of screen time. The only thing that I have is I use calendar on the screen. So one thing that I'm really trying to do in general is to reduce my screen time. And that helps also getting you into a better mindset for work, right? And don't listen to what everyone is saying, but talk to people maybe who have ADHD and can share like strategies that they use. But if it doesn't work, don't follow. I mean, it's really rebel, and I get distracted a lot. So yeah, just turn off everything, block sites with apps like Freedom. If you have, sometimes, Instagram or Facebook or whatever websites. And if you feel the need to also tell people that you work with, I also have to say, like, I cannot have all these notes like this on this Google Sheet because I don't understand anything, or this visual reference doesn't, just say I need something else. It's better for me this way, and yeah, I think, feel free also to ask, on LinkedIn or another content. But I think these are the main things. Like, don't try what everyone is showing, because that really might not apply.
Yeah, thank you for that, Melissa. I think this is a question as well. Like, I definitely can't give you any tips because I don't suffer with this. But I think, people online are generally quite happy to share their tips and experiences. So just asking more people, I think people are quite keen to share ADHD tips and working with ADHD. So thank you, everybody, for that. Okay, the next one. So DJ asks, as someone who strives for a digital nomadic lifestyle, but falls prey to isolation quite easily, do you ever find it difficult to manage staying connected with friends, clients, or family? How do you overcome this? And does it affect your workflow or creativity? So I really can't help with this because I'm the opposite of a digital nomad. I'm always on every social media platform, keeping in touch with people that way because I don't hate it that much. And for me, it's a nice way of socializing when I'm not seeing people physically. Does anyone else find this? Anyone else struggle with using social media to kind of keep in touch with people?
I've recently, it was the start of the year, I demetted my life. So I got rid of Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. And I think it's been a bit difficult, but I think, or it was at first, but then I've just made more of an effort to text people. And it seems really old fashioned to send people a text and they're like, why are you texting? It's because this is what I do now. But texting people and meeting up in person. I even have there's a client who I work with who lives in the same city as me, so we'll go out and get coffee together if we need to have a meeting, which is really nice. And you don't really get to do that a lot. But I don't know. It's just I think you can I'm on other social media, so it's not like I'm completely stripped back. But I don't know. I think it was difficult because a lot of my friends didn't want to move away from Facebook Messenger. And then I was like, no, we'll just use this other thing. We'll just use Signal. And it's basically the same. And yeah, there's a bit of an adjustment, but I think you just have to put a bit more of an effort in. I think with stuff like Instagram and whatever, it's passive. You're keeping up with your friends by checking their stories. And it's nice to know what they're doing, but you don't actually a lot of the time have a conversation with them. And I think it's just nice to kind of be I actually want to ring this person up and have a chat with them and stuff like that. So yeah.
Thanks, Gina. That's brilliant. Okay, this one is from Damien Kasbauer. He says that he sees guitars, keyboards, automatones in the background. How often do you reach these as a head cleaner or productivity break? And also, can we have a live demo? The live demo I won't make anyone do if you don't want to. But yeah, I guess this is for Melissa and everyone except me, because I just have green in my background. Yeah, do you often fiddle with some instruments, or is there anything you kind of do as a little, just thing to distract yourself for a little bit to clear your head? Greg, do you want to go?
As a head clear, not really. No, but what I have been doing now is like on my walks, I have been taking a field recorder with me, and I didn't do that for a very long time. Now I've started to do it, and I feel like that has added an extra layer to everything and has just made me more aware of my environment. So it's not really during a thing, but yeah, I think, yeah, lunchtime walks are a big one for me. If I can get in, I love 3 walks a day if possible, and I can't wait to get a dog, so I have like the excuse of like, oh, sorry, I need to walk my dog. Too bad, they're like, yeah, they need to go get walked. So walks for me is the ultimate break and cleanser. But yeah, I have some things that I play with, like to just in general fiddle around, like this flip knife, which is not sharp.
That's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do play my bass or guitar for like, I don't know, 2 minutes at a time sometimes. But to be honest, the main thing I do as a little head cleaner is I just leave my desk and I'll go and lie down on my sofa on the other side of a room where I can't see anything and just stare at the ceiling or the mirror and just breathe for a few minutes. That kind of helps me with my kind of stress or anxiety or just general tiredness.
I have like exercise, whatever, like dumbbells and like small ones as well and things like that. And that is super helpful sometimes to just stand up at my desk, raise the desk up, do some stretching with like the resistant bands. And yeah, stretching is a big one for me. I like to do that when I'm standing up at my desk because I don't really actually enjoy working stood up for long periods of time, but I really enjoy just standing up for 10-15 minutes and doing stretches or some movement with some weights or something, and they're just really, really light weights, like 1.5 kg, and that kind of stuff is really helpful to get blood flowing again, because yeah, I sit like a gremlin most of the time. It's not good.
Yeah, I would do that, but I don't want to get any more muscular than I already am, so I try to keep that in check. Thank you, Damien. All right, folks, I will probably leave it there. I know there's more questions, but Greg and I need to jump into the next stream to set that up. But just on a closing thought. So I also wanted to say, I don't know if this applies to anybody in the chat today, but myself and Greg, I feel like we do work from home all the time, and we do spend a lot of time at our desk. And I think we're both getting pretty good at dealing with it. But I have to say, this conference, kind of being active, we've been at every single talk, both of us, for like 13 hours a day. It's a lot, and I didn't realize until this time, like this year, like how much it is actually affecting us. Like we're taking steps to deal with it. We're doing shifts, etc. here and there. But if anyone here is watching every single talk or stressing about missing anything, please do know when you're working too hard. No need to take a break. I cannot stress that enough. It's very easy when you're working from home, and especially when you're working in audio and you kind of feel that need to constantly be working or doing something or checking things off your list. And it's such a competitive industry to get into, so you want to be doing everything here and there. Me and Greg are we're dying this week. We're working too hard, and I wouldn't recommend anyone do these kind of hours. Take a break if you need it. Take some rest. Go for walks. Get out in nature. Do anything that brings you joy, and you can always catch up on replays afterwards. You don't have to be live every single time. Folks, thank you so much. I'll let you all have some closing comments, I suppose. Melissa, starting with you.
Oh, that was a lot of pressure all of a sudden.
Sorry.
No, I guess just thank you. And I think these discussions are important, because what I felt is that when I start to ponder a lot about working from home, is that there's also a false sense of control. Oh, now I don't have to commute and I can, go there and then start and blah, blah, blah. And I think one should still treat it as an office, your space and everything, because you still have responsibilities. So I try to be a bit careful with that. And also one thing that helped me that I forgot to mention before. Sometimes if I'm not just doing like admin, just emails, or I have to read stuff, I can, just maybe take my computer to another place, even outside the house, just to get a bit off this place. That also helps. Something that you can just do easily on a laptop, and you don't need the rest of the stuff. I think that is it.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. It was very nice.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Gina, how about you?
I was thinking about this while we were talking. I'm still not ready.
Greg, do you want to do first?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, Greg.
I totally agree with the laptop stuff. That's great. I often do that as well when I'm not really doing day job, but like when I'm doing Air Wiggles and game audio learning and whatnot. I try to go to cafes or stuff like that and basically introduce play into my work life. I think that's a big one. Like, work doesn't have to feel like work, especially in our industry. I think you can find ways to reward yourself, to make it fun. Go to a cafe, write down your asset lists there on your laptop or whatever. Get yourself a nice coffee or whatever you enjoy, what your beverage of choice is, and make it really fun. Work doesn't have to feel like work. And just look after yourself. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, that you eat well, that you're exercising. I think those are just the core components, and your health always comes first. You can't work if you don't have good health, so make sure to keep that as your front and center pillar, including also social. The social aspect is really important as well. So thank you for having me, and sorry that I couldn't be Julie today. But hopefully it was good to have another voice.
Gina, have you thought of anything?
So I think my thing is there are still lots of things that I don't do that I probably should do, like eating well and exercising. You described yourself as a goblin. I'm just I'm definitely a big goblin. And I just think realizing that there's, like Melissa was saying, there's no right way to do it. It's not like there's a rule book on how to work from home and how to make it work with your body and your lifestyle and stuff like that. And I think just realizing that it'll take time. It still takes time. It's we've been all doing it for a long time, and we'll probably still be changing the way we do it, and it'll adapt as we kind of change. And I think it's just normal that you'll still have some bad days as well as good days.
Yeah,
amazing.
It will never be perfect. It's always good seasons and busy seasons where it goes a little bit out of balance, and then you pull it back and you're like, all right, let's get back on track again.
Everyone, thank you so much. This was a lovely conversation. I really enjoyed talking to all of you. Greg, one last question. What was at the door?
I thought I pulled that off so smoothly. I'm sorry, I drank a huge glass of water. I didn't even know I was coming into this panel. Yes, I wasn't prepared.
To be fair, Greg did come onto this with 2 minutes preparation. So thank you, Greg, for stepping in.
My bladder was nope.
Folks, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I know we didn't get to everyone's questions, so feel free to ask them in the Hangout space, and myself and Greg and maybe Julie and Melissa can potentially answer outside of this talk. But I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all, everyone in this chat and everyone in this call. So thanks so much.
Thanks a bunch.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.